Hello, and welcome back to Rising Coaches with Sophia Bernardi. It is the 1st of June as I record this, and I cannot believe we are halfway through 2025 already. I swear time is just going by faster and faster every year. I literally cannot keep up. So today I thought it would be really fitting to share with you some really hard truths about why you might be stuck or haven't progressed as much as you would have liked to, and what you can actually do about it to make the most of the remainder of 2025. But before I jump into that, I want to share a quick life update because I know you are all loving these so much. So I'm feeling really happy where I'm at physically, emotionally, and financially right now in my life. I feel like this has been a recurring pattern that I've felt most of this year, which is super, super good. I'm super proud of myself. Geordie and I are going really great. I'm feeling all loved up. We went on the cutest date last night. My health is the best it's been in years, and my business is celebrating its biggest cash month to date. Oh, life is so good. I'm so excited. Next week's episode is going to be breaking down that entire month, how I hit $83,000 in cash. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm saying that out loud. So, in the last week, I've had a really spacious week with very minimal calls. I think I had literally 2 calls for the whole week, which has been just what I've needed after a big few weeks of holding a little bit of stress and growth, like I've spoken about in the last couple of episodes. So I've just spent lots of time with Geordie. I've been doing a lot of back-end stuff in my business. I've actually hired a sales closer to take over the sales calls moving forward. And I've been doing lots of walks and Pilates classes. I actually just got back from Pilates class. I've been super consistent and disciplined, guys, so I'm really proud of myself. And I say disciplined, but it's not hard. It feels very sustainable, very doable. I think it's, a good thing to go for a walk every day. It's a good thing to move your body every day. And yeah, I've created a really nice routine for myself. I've also been going to bed at like 8 p.m. every single night with Geordie. So my body clock is so crazy now. We've been waking up at crazy hours. Like, it is a Sunday here at the time of recording this, and I've been up since 4 a.m., guys. Yes, 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. Who even does that? But it's honestly been super nice. Like, Geordie and I went for a walk like in the dark, early hours of the morning the other day, and it was just so nice. Like, everyone else is asleep. You've got the world to yourself. It's just so peaceful and quiet, and then watching the sun come up is really beautiful. And last night we went on a really nice date to celebrate my biggest cash month, and we were literally home by 7 p.m., guys. We had dinner and dessert, and we were home by about 7 p.m. And I wouldn't have it any other way. It was so nice. On a more deeper note though, last week I also navigated a really interesting situation with my dad, and I decided to share it on the internet, which is not something I would usually do at all. Whilst I share a lot of my life, I'm also actually very private. I don't share a lot of, things that just aren't really relevant to my business or who I help, outside of, more basic things like, what I might be doing in a day or, little fun things like that. But I decided to share this particular situation because I felt like there was a whole bunch of lessons that would be really helpful for people, not relating to the situation specifically, but the lessons that came out of it, because everyone goes through, difficult things and challenges, and I think it's how you perceive or go about those things that matters so, so much. So I decided to share it, and I won't go into too much detail here because it just doesn't really matter, but I just want to be transparent. I don't want to just share the, everything is great vibes, which, like I said, most of the time that is the truth. That doesn't mean challenges don't also come up in my life or in my business. And so I want to just be really real with that. So long story short, I've mentioned my dad a few times here on the podcast over the years. I try and refrain from talking too much about him just because it's not my story to share, So But yeah, long story short, he's very mentally unwell. He's got a really severe gambling addiction that completely broke my family apart many years ago. Everyone in my family gets along and loves each other. It's just him and everything revolving him where there's a problem, basically. And this, comes with a lot of complexities. And for a long time, he hasn't been in my life at all. However, over the last few years, I've had a really good relationship with him. I would say like the last 3 years, things have been really great. And it's just because we talk about surface level stuff. But what I realized and what I experienced recently is that if a conversation about the past comes up, or even certain things about the future, or even talking about certain people that, I love and that are in my life, but if he doesn't love them, that's where things become a real problem, and it doesn't end very well at all if you kind of trigger or like he reacts, And long story short, the other week I was on a phone call with him because, he calls me all the time, and we're just having a really normal, casual conversation. But then, through what we were talking about, we ended up, talking about the past, and one thing led to another. And he just totally changed personalities, and it went downhill from there. And he just said some really unkind stuff about me, about the people I love. And, after that conversation, I just decided, right, I need some space from him. I think he could tell that. And so over the last week or so, I've received text messages from him, phone calls from him, which I didn't respond to until it got annoying. And I reached out and I said, hey, basically I'm setting a boundary here. Unless you want to apologize for the things that you said, I'm not really interested in having another conversation with you. And, with people such as my dad and that kind of personality type, I won't put labels on here, but, just interesting personalities, when they, don't get their way, basically, you typically cop it. And I really copped a flood of really nasty messages. And I decided to share it on the internet because those things, if he had said them to me in the past, like many years ago, before I had done inner work, before I'd started my business, those sorts of things that he would say to me, really hurt me. And it's, a big reason why I didn't believe in myself, why I never felt good enough to begin with, right? Because of all the nasty things he would say. But it was really interesting receiving these nasty messages. You can find it on my Instagram. But basically, he told me to grow up, told me I play the victim, which, I got a flood of messages and comments saying like, wow, that's the complete opposite of how I would describe you. I don't know anyone else that takes more responsibility than you. Like, you don't play the victim or whatever. And then he just said a whole bunch of nasty things. I can't even remember them right now or care to say them out loud. But nonetheless, they were super nasty, especially to come from your own dad, right? And I decided to share it because what was so interesting is receiving these messages, having done all of this work, is that it just really didn't affect me. I'm not saying no emotion went through my body and, it didn't hurt. Of course, I'm a human being. It's never nice to receive, nasty messages, but it didn't hit me the same way it did in the past because I simply didn't believe it all. And that was the difference. It was so clear. Everything he said didn't even make logical sense, wasn't even related to what we were talking about. And it was just a whole bunch of nasty insults and just full on projections. And I didn't believe any of it. He was literally just trying to hurt me so badly. He was like, what painful, nasty thing could I say? He said, what I do is really embarrassing. He said I should buy a house. He said I should go study instead of doing Tony Robbins stuff, which is just ironic because literally the only Tony Robbins thing I've done is a 4-day seminar 5 years ago, and it completely changed my life. But because he doesn't like Tony Robbins, because he's, nothing like, that man, and he's instead overweight, a gambler, doesn't take any responsibility, hates everyone in his life, doesn't have any family because he's pushed everyone away, all of these things. It's just easier to project and hate on other people than it is to own why your life is the way that it is, And so I decided to share it on social media because it was just so comical almost that none of these things were true. Whereas obviously if I truly believed those things, I would not be sharing them on social media. That would feel extremely vulnerable. But it was just almost so comical. And it was like, my point was, well, there was a few points, but one of my points in this post was that, you know, when you like work on yourself and you truly feel good within yourself, nothing or no one external can touch you or hurt you, you know? And because I truly love myself and I love my life, what my dad says about me doesn't change how I go about my life. And I think that that's really, really important, because if you need external validation or you need external things to go a certain way or certain things to happen in order for you to function and move forwards, it's going to be really difficult to do so. Whereas when you feel good within yourself, you don't need any external validation and you're going to move forwards no matter, you know, whether things are going according to plan in your life or not. It's just going to allow you to like move forwards and grow much faster. And so none of the things he said hurt me, but I know that they would have in the past. And I went about my day as per usual. And of course, you know, I thought about it a lot and it was front of mind, and it probably affected my productivity a little bit that day. But I wasn't sad about it. It was just, I was sad for him. I'm like, how sad that, you know, in the last 15 years, you haven't grown at all. You haven't changed at all. Safe to say, he's blocked and removed from my life again. A big boundary there, because he didn't get the lesson. He hasn't changed. And I've got so many good people in my life. I've got Geordie's family. I've got my family. I've got the best friends. I've got amazing clients and, you know, so many beautiful listeners. And I just don't need anything or anyone average in my life, even if they are blood related, right? And so I decided to share it and share the lessons within that. And I was really trying to spin it on a business lens as well, rather than like, hey, poor me personal lens. And no one took it from that angle either. But, you know, the business lesson was like, things are going to happen in business that don't go according to plan. Things are going to happen that are hard. And if you have to like stop or shut down every single time something like that happens, it's going to be really hard to grow, right? Whereas if you know, build a mindset that can handle adversity and challenges and become more resilient in the process, you're just going to be able to move forwards, because you don't go through life getting unscathed, right? And that was kind of my point. It's like, I could have let it ruin my day, but because I know who I am and I know what I want and I know what's truth, like I was able to just move forwards regardless of what was happening external. And I think that that's really, really important. But the reason I'm sharing all of this, wow, what a, you know, long life update. I will move on in a second. I did that post very, very vulnerable, and gosh, I was in tears. Like, I got so many beautiful messages, voice messages, phone calls. My grandma sent me flowers. Like, I just got so much love from people that I haven't spoken to in years sometimes. Some people that I've never spoken to, and just nothing but love. Like, so much love. And I just wanted to say, if you play any role in that whatsoever, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It was also this interesting reminder that like, people are watching you, people are listening, people are paying attention. And when you do something or say something that's maybe vulnerable or something that just grabs attention, where people feel, you know, called to respond or want to support you or back you, they all of a sudden appear. And I found that to be really interesting, the amount of people that, you know, are silently watching, and, you know, they obviously care for me and they just felt like they really had to respond in that moment. And it was just, you know, a really beautiful reminder. So, I'm getting emotional. Thank you so much if that was you in any way, because, you know, the polarity of experiencing so much hate and darkness in one moment, and then like a flood of light and love and kindness on the other, just shows you the duality of life. So yeah, I'm really grateful. All right, guys, that was a longer life update. I just had to give context as the story went on there. But, you know, that was the dark side of my week, but also the light at the same time. It was really bizarre. So yeah, overall, a really good week. And yeah, let's move on. So if you're listening to this and you have already smashed every single goal you set for 2025, congratulations and well done. And this episode probably isn't for you. My only recommendation for you would be to set much bigger goals, to really stretch yourself, as that's where the growth lies, and then take that same attitude and behavior and habits that you've had throughout this year to reach those goals and take that into your new goals. Because yeah, achieving your goals, of course, that's what we want. and that's what it's about. But what it's really about is like who you become on the journey. And so it's easy to set, in reach goals that you kind of believe is possible and within reach. It's much more difficult to set bigger goals that are going to force you to become a different version of yourself in order to reach it. And that's really what it's about. It's about the growth. And this is coming from someone that absolutely used to have a very like achievement based mindset, and it was all about just reaching the goals. But now it's, my attitude has changed. Like, yes, I want to reach the goals, but there's no like pressure, there's no rush, there's no scarcity about it. It's just about, how I progress and how I go about it, my mindset, and who I become. That's what it's all about. But if you are listening to this and you're halfway through the year and you're not on track to reach your goals, or you feel a little bit behind or a little bit deflated, this episode is for you, because we are now officially 6 months into 2025, and I swear I've been feeling like it's the start of the year for like this entire 6 months until this official reality check that we're actually halfway through. And this will feel different for all of you. Some of you might be feeling a little low or a little behind. Some of you might be feeling on top of the world, and some of you might be feeling completely neutral. But if you are feeling a little low or a little behind, then I want you to know that it's okay that you're not on track or haven't reached your goals yet. There is still so much time to turn things around, and you never know when that, turnaround moment is really going to be. And it's not about reaching the goal. It's about making sure that you're doing the best that you can to move towards it. And that's how you're going to feel good, is you at least know that you are doing your all. You're doing the best you can with whatever your situation looks like, not comparing to anyone else's, just focusing on you and your journey and your reality. Because I'll be honest with you, if it helps, I set 2 really big goals at the start of the year. One was a health goal and one was a business goal. I'm on track to reach my health goal. I'm getting there, but I'm not on track to reach my business goal. And I'm okay with that. Why? Because I'm playing the long game. Because I'm progressing and improving every month in my business and in my health. I'm stepping more and more into the version of me who can hold that goal. I'm showing up every day towards my goals. I am learning. I am unlearning. I am relearning. I am checking in with how I feel. And as long as I'm making progress, for me, that's all I care about. And I'm absolutely making progress in my business. I just hit my biggest cash month in my business to date in my entire 5.5 years of being in business. So I'm really, really happy right now. But the goal that I set is so big that there was a lot of work, or there is a lot of work that's required to even be a match for that, right? And so funnily enough, the month that I've just had, so May was our biggest month, and it's the first time that I have been, I suppose you could say, on track to reach my goal. But I now need to do 11 more months of that exact month or more in order to reach my goal, right? And so, but I'm on top of the world. I don't care that it's only, I've only just hit that now. Like, I haven't been ready until now, right? I'm just focused on growing and becoming 1% better, day by day, decision by decision. That's what matters. I didn't set small goals that were in reach. I intentionally set stretch goals that force me to become a better version of myself in order to reach them. And I know that that's not always a simple and straightforward path. And I'm here for that. That's life, guys. Kind of like my life update. It's like, you're going to have good moments and you're going to have crashing low moments. I'm here for the whole journey, the whole ride. Because if I wasn't, then I wouldn't be, living life to its fullest. Okay? And so you should be here for that whole journey too, with whatever that looks like. And if you're in a much darker period right now, please know that I am, for one, sending so much love and gratitude to you right now, and empathy, and I'm giving you a big virtual hug. And I know that you are absolutely in that phase of your life for a reason. My darkest moments in life, my most painful, excruciating seasons in life have taught me the most. It's where I have grown the most. And I was just talking to Geordie last night about, when I went through a breakup many years ago, that was the darkest period in my life. And I absolutely, hand on heart, would not have it any other way. Much easier to say that 6 or 7 years later, however long ago it was. But I wouldn't change anything, because I grew so much during that dark period that who I am today is a part of the reason is because of what I went through in my lowest moments. It's not through the highest moments, right? So you got to be here for the whole journey. And so if you're in that dark space, please know that one, there's absolutely light at the end of the tunnel. And two, you're there for a reason. There are lessons that need to be learned. There are feelings that need to be felt. And there are experiences that need to be had to make you stronger and more resilient and wiser. So with that all being said, if you're not feeling proud of your efforts and haven't been that intentional this year, then this is your reset, and that's what I want to address right now. So let's check in with yourself right now. What did you say you wanted at the start of 2025? What were your goals? I want you to write them down, say them out loud, think about them. And how do you truly feel about your progress so far? Are you proud? Are you not proud? Are you feeling guilty? Are you feeling shame? What are you feeling right now? And I have a really big question for you, and I want you to be ultra honest with yourself right now. If I followed you around for a week, would I know that you are serious about your goals? Would I see structure, intention, and momentum? Or would I see procrastination, overthinking, and distraction disguised as planning? And this isn't about guilt. It's about truth. You can't grow and progress if you aren't being honest with yourself, for yourself. This isn't about anyone else. This is for you. You have to be honest with you. Because your success is in the tiny details. It's the way that you treat your time. It's the way that you prioritize things. It's what's on your calendar. It's in the choices that you make when nobody is watching. And here's a hard truth that we all need to hear sometimes. Your life will only change when your habits match your vision consistently. That's it. That's the whole game. You can journal, manifest, and vision board all day. And I'm all about those things. There's a time and place for them. But you can do that all day. But if your daily actions aren't aligned, or you're not actually taking action, nothing changes. So again, I want to ask you, if I followed you around for a week, would I be inspired? Would I see proof or just words? And yes, there are going to be days where it feels like we're getting nowhere. Like no one's perfect every single moment of every single day. But I'm talking about the consistency, the more often than not situations. All right? There's going to be those moments where you'll post something and nobody cares, where you'll make an offer and you hear crickets, where you feel like you're working and you're not seeing results. That's just the reality of business sometimes. What once worked no longer works. Like that's normal. We build, we test, we iterate. And that's also the test that you need to see if you're truly a match for what you say you want, of how you show up when no one's clapping and when nothing's working, because that, my friends, matters more than anything. Because the people who win in business, they aren't the most talented. They're simply the most consistent. And when I say consistent, they don't just keep doing the same thing on repeat that doesn't work, right? They're learning, they're building, they're iterating, right? But they're consistent no matter what, no matter what's going on in the world. And if you're waiting for external validation before you feel good or before you can move forwards and it's everyone else's fault around you, you're doing it backwards. Because very few people will believe in your vision until it starts making you money. That's why you need to be your own biggest believer before the proof exists. It's about who you are and how you're feeling before you get the thing, before you reach your goals. That's what gets you there. Before you have the numbers, before you have the clients, before the validation, before your parents finally stop asking if it's working. Your belief has to be louder than everybody else's silence. This is your dream, not theirs. So you need to act like it. You need to own it. So here's what I want you to do today. Number one, I want you to reflect honestly. What were the goals you set in January? Where are you now in relation to them? And are you proud of your progress or are you avoiding the truth? So that's reflecting. I want you to reflect on this first half of the year because there's a lot of wisdom and knowledge or hard truths and reminders and wisdom in this first 6 months. And if you can't get those learnings, then you're going to have a repeat for the next 6 months. But if you can pick up on the things of, right, where do we need to do better? What do we need to change and shift and improve? That's how you're going to take those lessons and have a much better next 6 months. Okay? Number 2 is I want you to realign your habits. What is one daily action that would move the needle forward? One habit every day, that's it, right? It's about just making that commitment, you know? Like I decided, I'm like, no matter what, I walk a minimum of 10,000 steps a day and I do a minimum of like one workout. Like I just decided that. I didn't need to build up, like, no, I just decided and I did it. And then I've watched the ripple effect come, you know? I decide something and I go all in on it in my business and in my life. And number 3 is I want you to recommit to your vision. Write it down again. Anchor back into your why. Your why is your driving force. We're not here to rely on motivation. That is a recipe for failure. Motivation is literally designed to come and to go. It's meant to go up and down, right? No one's motivated all the time. But some people are disciplined more often than not, right? Discipline comes from your why. I once wrote down 200 reasons why my goal was a must. And you best believe that next month I reached my goal. So maybe you need to write down 200 reasons why, so that you get out of this loop of saying you're going to do something and not following through, right? Action takers are money makers. So recommit to that vision. Now, I hope that this episode gave you the reset and the inspiration you needed to be able to move forwards. Anchor into what matters most and move forward to make the most of the remainder of 2025, which again, I can't believe I'm saying that. And if you want deeper support, you're like, okay, it's clear. I need accountability. I need support. I need to stop settling. I need to stop dabbling. I would love to support you, because when you have daily and weekly and monthly accountability, you have someone looking into your business at a deep level, someone who really cares and wants the best for you, unpacking the data and the numbers, getting you clear, letting go of what's needed and moving towards what is. That's when you're going to get results. And that is what is inside my programs, that accountability and that in-depth support. Don't let another 6 months go by, right? You've got the opportunity to decide today, not even today, right now, make a decision, right? You already have evidence of what the first half of the year has gotten you. It's time to have a better and clearer plan. It's time to make better decisions. So if you're not happy truly with your progress, let's do something about it, okay? Come message me. I'm at Sophia Rose Bernardi on Instagram. Link is in the show notes. Or message me on Facebook, wherever you want. Get in contact about working together so I can give you the plan. I can give you the support. I can give you the encouragement, right? I can give you the clarity that you need to be able to move forwards and reach your goals, okay? Let's finish this year strong, and I'll see you in next week's episode.